Welcome to Mark D. Maker. My name's Mark Taylor, and today we're going to be working on some of the final details of the owl before we start painting, sealing. It's really coming along. All right, so both of the wings are done. They're finished. They're ready for sealing, priming, and painting. And the eyebrows are done. I used Dremel and this ceramic bit to put the lines into the eyebrows. And then I used a cylinder ceramic. Ceramic is very, very fine. It's almost like burning a line. It's very clean, no fuzzies, and a very smooth bit. And you get these very fine lines. So I used ceramic in that, and then I went back with the burner lightly on a low heat and burn these lines in. I used epoxy glue and glued the two parts of the feet back together. And if you remember, these were like, it was more like on a perch, and I cut them, leveled them back, glued them back on with the new flat angle on it, so it's more in a landing or an attack mode. And I took a 1/4 inch or an 1/8 inch ruby ball and kind of blended this together. I'll do the same with this. Probably take this down even more because I'm going to put a thin layer of epoxy over top of all the talons. It'll add strength, and I can add detail to it as well. And the head I took the same ruby ball here and just came in and cut some feathers and back in sanding just to smooth everything down. These feathers don't stick up very much, but you want a little bit of texture there. And I go in with the burner. I keep my bits in these little things. Works out wonderful. And burning in these feathers, these are contour feathers, and like I say, they're not raised very much. These all lay down very, very flat. Very little difference between them, but there is texture, and you do want that to be present. So I lay the burner in and pull it. Angling the lines inward towards the center of the feather. And if you saw me do the major flight feathers, this is opposite of how those were burned. Those I start on the base of the feather and pull outward, and these are pull on the outer extremity of the feather and pull inward. Just seems to look more realistic like that. Alright, so let's speed this up 2 times, just so you don't get bored watching this burning. You can still see all the detail and what it takes to get the job done here. I'd like to take a second to recognize a couple of wood carving channels. People that have been helpful to my channel and to and basically just friends. Gene Mercer is a flat plane carver, awesome guy. We got Jordy on Carving Fusion. He's just crazy. A lot of fun. Studio on the Lake. That's Ben. Great guy. Helicopter pilot. Always wanted to be a helicopter pilot. But I'm dyslexic and I tend to invert numbers, so that's probably not a good career for me. We're at 119 feet. Oh, wait a minute. We're at 19 feet. Not good. Just Carve Rob. Talented wood carver. Nice guy. Funny guy. All these guys are the type of people that I would just hang out with and carve and tell jokes, and very entertaining to watch their channels. So if you get a chance, check them out. There's a lot of other guys out there doing wood carving too. There's Kevin Coates. He's a very talented wood carver. He actually carves with a fillet knife that he's customized. Stinnett Sticks is an excellent wood carver. He does super realism, really fine detail, incredible. Everybody should check out that channel. A really good wood carver, especially with chisels, is Mary May. She actually has a wood carving school. So if you're into the especially classical wood carving like you would see on furniture or architecture, she's incredible. Of course, Doug Linker. Doug Linker is one of the people that inspired me to start my own wood carving channel. I actually did a scarecrow. Doug Linker encourages people to carve what he carves. He carves it and then he encourages other people to carve it. And so I did just that. And I decided at that point to start my own channel. So I do owe him some credit. To break up the monotony of doing the burning, I just knocked out some quick carvings of some pumpkins. With September just right around the corner, figure I'd do these and use these as a backdrop for like a witch or something like that. But you can see this is just a little pin blank, and these are just little squares, little cubes. Here I'm using a 1/8 inch ruby ball. The rubies are just so nice to use. They're not too aggressive. They work really nice on basswood. So I found this really neat Facebook page. It's run by Gene Mercer. It's called Let's Talk Carving. And it's just for questions and talking about carving. It's not for posting pictures of completed carvings or anything like that. It's for questions. And so I asked a question. I asked if there's a particular area where basswood's the wood we use for carving, if there's a particular area that grows it better, that gives you a superior carve, and there is. Turns out that I got an overwhelming majority of people that said that northern basswood grows slower, is whiter in color, and easier to carve. But that's the goal. That's what you want. Is basswood grown in the northern climate. The southern basswood is still carvable, but because it grows a lot quicker there, it's more yellow in color and it's tougher. And I've noticed that throughout the years of carving it, that the more yellow basswood is, it seems like the tougher it is to carve. So that answered a lot of questions for me. It's a great Facebook channel. It's worth checking out. So I mentioned this in one of my previous videos about basswood and where the name came from. We call it basswood. It's actually from the linden tree, but it got the name basswood from American Indians. It's the binding cord. It's the name for a binding cord was bass. What the American Indians would do is get a fairly young basswood tree and pound it and strip the bark off of it like peeling a banana. And the very fibrous strings under the bark would make an excellent twine. So that was their source for string, and so it took on the name bass, meaning, they would wrap their meats or sew with it or whatever they needed to do. It was a twine for them, and that's how we came up with the name basswood. So the feet are getting pretty close to the size I want, but you can see when the wood starts getting this thin, it starts to become fragile. So a good way to strengthen them would be to use cyanoacrylate, which is super glue, and there's different types of super glue, but you want to make sure it's thin so it soaks in completely. You let it dry and it will add strength to them so they just won't snap off easily. I might take these down just a hair more, but then I'm going to cover them in a 2-part epoxy, which will also give them strength. Alright, I got a ruby flame tip on the Dremel here, and I'm making the line, the definition line between the feet and the very fur-like feathers that come down that protect the legs, because owls are hunters and everything that they hunt usually fights back. Their legs are actually pretty thin and they're vulnerable, and so these fur-like feathers that cover their legs protect them from getting bit and stung and all that stuff. All right, here we have a ceramic bit, a little cylinder here, and this makes very nice smooth lines. No fuzzies with this particular bit. You can't go very deep with it. It won't let you, so it gives you good control over fine detail. All the ceramics are good for shallow detail. As you see, all the lines, I'm using my hand to get that natural curve. I'm curving it. No straight lines on a bird. So as I get up around the eye here, this particular cylinder is just too big to fit in there, so I will switch off to another cylinder. This is more of a cone-shaped cylinder, but it is flat on the top like a cylinder. I'll leave it extended a little bit, and it gets right down into those tight spots. Now you have to be careful. You don't want to have that tip out too far. It'll get wobbly on you. So please like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.